You are already at the machine. Your hand is already on the lever. You are already late. The machine goes up past the smoke, higher than you can see. Nobody remembers what it makes. It has been running longer than any record still legible, longer than anyone alive, and it does not stop for you. There are 2 levers in front of you. They look exactly the same. Same worn metal, same greasy handle, same silence where a label should be. One of them must be pulled every 90 seconds, forever, or a skull-shaped warning lights up somewhere far above your head, in a room full of people who will never learn your name. The other lever must never be touched. Not once, not ever. No one told you which is which. You were born on a world with 40 billion people. Not one of them knows you exist. You are not a citizen here, whatever the sermons say. You are a resource. A pair of hands assigned to a task, filed under a number, kept alive exactly as long as the task needs you. Miss a pull, and you die. Keep pulling forever, and you also die. Just slower. This is the Imperium of Man in the 41st millennium, and this is your whole life, measured out in 90-second intervals. The manual that explained the machine is missing. It has been missing for a long time. The last worker who read it either went mad or simply walked away one shift and never came back. Nobody checked which. Nobody had time. The lever still needed pulling, so someone put your hand on it, and here you are. You look at the 2 handles again. You count the seconds under your breath. You do not know what the machine does. You do not know what happens if the wrong lever moves. You only know that stopping is not one of the options anyone gave you. This is the strange horror of being small inside something enormous. You are responsible for a thing you cannot understand, built by people long dead, feeding a purpose no living person can name. The consequences of getting it wrong are total. The reasons are gone. Somewhere above you, past 1,000 levels of pipe and prayer and rust, someone rich is looking at a sky you will never see. Somewhere far beyond that, an empire of 1,000,000 worlds grinds on, and this machine and your hand are a rounding error inside it. 90 seconds. You pull the lever. The count resets. Nothing changes. Everything continues. So how does a person end up here? How do you get handed a task this large, with instructions this absent, and a death waiting on either side of one wrong guess? To understand that, you have to go back. Back before the shift, before the number, before you were ever big enough to reach the lever at all. Back to the only decision in your life that was never yours to make. Nobody chose where to be born. You did not. You simply opened your eyes in a hab block the size of a mountain on a world whose surface you will almost certainly never see. There was no window. There was no sky. There was only the hum of machinery older than your bloodline and the weight of everyone stacked above and below you. The Imperium of Man spans roughly 1,000,000 worlds. You landed on one of them by pure accident of birth, and the accident decided nearly everything. Perhaps you woke on a hive world. Picture a single city that swallowed an entire planet, then kept building upward for thousands of years. Billions live here. On the largest hives, tens of billions. The air is smog you learn to breathe. The noise never stops, because the machines never stop, because you never stop. You are one body in a vertical ocean of bodies, pressed into squalor that runs so deep the lowest levels have their own weather. Or perhaps you woke on a forge world, and the grimness wears a different mask. Here, industry is holy. The furnaces are shrines. Hot metal and incense fill the same breath. And the priesthood that rules this place, the tech priests of the machine cult, regards ordinary flesh like yours as a flawed and temporary design, something to be improved, replaced, or discarded. To them, you are not a person. You are a component that has not yet been upgraded. Smog or sacred fire, vertical slum or holy factory. The registers differ. The verdict does not. Either way, you are a worker, and a worker is not a citizen in any way that would help you. Because somewhere, the Administratum has already noticed you. Not you exactly. The Administratum is the Imperium's vast bureaucracy, and it does not deal in faces. It deals in lines. The moment you were born, a scribe recorded the fact as a single entry in a ledger you will never open, in a language you cannot read, filed in a building on a world you will never reach. And here is the quiet horror of that ledger. It is not a record of your life. It is a claim on it. The Imperium does not want your story. It has no room for your story. It wants your output while your hands still work. It wants your body when a war grows hungry enough to need it. And it wants, eventually, the small, final piece of paperwork that confirms your death, so the entry can be closed and the number reassigned. That is worth repeating. You were given a serial number before you were given a name. The number came first. The name, if anyone bothered, came after. So you might imagine that somewhere in all this, they taught you how to survive it. They did teach you something. But what they called your education was not education at all. The schooling begins at birth, not schooling in any sense that teaches you to question or read beyond the liturgy or map the world outside your level. 2 lessons drilled before you can hold a stylus. The emperor is God. Work is prayer. By the time you can recite the catechism without a stumble, you already know which machine needs cleaning. The ecclesiarchy runs the morning sermon. Attendance is not optional. The doors are locked from the outside until the preacher finishes. He has given the same sermon for 30 years. The words have worn grooves in his throat like a drill in soft metal. You learn them before you understand them. Then you stop wondering what they mean. The rest of the day belongs to the other curriculum. Carry this. Hand that part to someone. Lift until you are told to stop. By the time your hands are the right size for a full shift, you have a full shift. There is no ceremony. There is a foreman, a roster, and your name already on it. You will spend most of your working life in levels where sunlight stopped being a practical concern some decades ago. The upper spire catches it. The privileged live closer to a sky you cannot reach. And the distance is not metaphorical. It is structural. The access shafts seal. The checkpoints require tokens. The tokens require authorization. The authorization requires a form you have never seen and do not know how to request. Your first job is simple. Clean the machine. Do not stop the machine. Do not ask what the machine does. The manual is gone. The operator who might have known the purpose of the machine retired or transferred or became something that no longer discusses such things. You are not encouraged to investigate. There are 2 levers. They look identical. Same mold, same height, same worn groove where a thumb has pressed for decades. One lever must be pulled every 90 seconds. Miss a pull and a warning skull activates on a panel somewhere far above you, in a room you will never enter, occupied by people who do not know your name, but will very quickly know your serial number. The other lever does something nobody will describe. Everyone who knows is careful not to say so. They are careful not to stand near it. They are careful not to look at it when they think you are watching them not look at it. You pull the first lever. You watch the second. 90 seconds passes. You pull the first lever again. The pull schedule is not a safety system. Safety implies something is being protected. The pull schedule is a compliance test. It runs every 90 seconds, every shift, for the rest of your working life. Each pull confirms you are present, obedient, and still not asking what the machine does. That is what the childhood prepared you for. The lever is the easy part. Dinner arrives in a gray tin, and Imperial records have a name for it: protein reclamation. What was reclaimed is not listed on any document a worker is permitted to read. The worker does not ask. The worker has learned which questions are questions and which are something else entirely. On a good shift, there is groks. Groks are real animals, bred on many worlds for labor and meat. By the time the meat reaches your tin, it has been processed, preserved, compressed, and shipped across a star system. It retains perhaps one meaningful relationship with the original creature, mostly. There is also recaf. Recaf is coffee the way a photocopy is a painting. It carries the memory of the original in a form that has forgotten why the original mattered. It arrives. It is warm. This is considered sufficient. The air is filtered. The overseers maintain documentation confirming this. Every filed report agrees the system is protective. Everyone on your level has the same cough. It develops around age 12 and is not treated because it is not classified as a condition. It is an expected adaptation. The machinery is working as intended. Water comes from the sump at the base of the hive. The sump sits below your level, below the underhive, below what lives in the underhive. Gravity operates as it always has. The water pipe runs upward against it. These 2 facts exist in the same infrastructure records, filed in separate categories, which is how the Imperium solves most problems that cannot be solved. The ecclesiarchy counts attendance at every sermon. The count is precise, and the record is kept. Your serial number appears in it, and its presence is expected. Its absence is also a kind of presence, the kind that generates a secondary form and then a visit. Doubt is not frowned upon. Frowned upon implies a social consequence. Doubt carries a specific charge under the Lex Imperialis and a specific category of enforcer assigned to apply it. The Adeptus Arbites enforce imperial law at the highest level. Local enforcers handle what falls below the Arbites' attention. Between them, Every category of human behavior is covered. The law operates on two settings: guilty and not yet caught. Your foreman reports upward. Your neighbor may also report upward. Silence reads as guilt in a system that interprets all behavior as evidence. You have been observed since the day you were assigned a number by institutions that have never held any interest in your survival, only in your output. The distinction matters greatly to you. It has never mattered to them. That is simply the cost of staying on your level. The machinery assumes you will remain there. The Administratum assumes you will remain there. The only institution that does not make that assumption is the one that has not yet sent a recruiter. Every world in the Imperium owes the Administratum a tithe. Some worlds pay in ore, hauled up from the mantle by machines older than the cities above them. Some pay in manufactured goods, in ammunition, in food paste stacked in freighters. Your world pays in people, and you have a serial number. For most of your life, this arrangement stays abstract. Then, a recruiter arrives at your level, or a war does, and the abstraction becomes a queue. A robed clerk reads names from a drum. Your number comes up. There is no appeal, because there is no one present who has the authority to hear one. You are now Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard. The transition takes about an hour. On paper, it is seamless. In your body, it is total. Yesterday, you pulled a lever every 90 seconds. Today, you are handed a laser gun shaped roughly like a stick, a uniform that does not fit, and a number slightly larger than the number you already had. Nobody explains the new number. Nobody explained the old one either. Then they put you on a void ship. It is enormous and dark, and it travels through the warp, which is less a place than an appetite. You do not need to understand the warp to be afraid of it. The crew who do understand it are more afraid than you are, and that is the detail worth remembering. The ship is bound for a planet you have never heard of, orbiting a star with no name you know. You will likely fight an enemy whose nature is not explained before you meet it. In many regiments, briefing is considered a luxury. You are told where to point the laser gun. You are not told what is coming toward it. And behind your line stands a commissar. His coat is long. His cap has a shape you learn to recognize from the corner of your eye. His function is simple. He enforces courage by threatening to end it. If you run, he does not shoot the enemy. He shoots you. Retreat is heresy. And in the Imperium, heresy has a bullet already loaded and waiting. So consider the trade you just made. In the factory, the thing at your back was a timer. Now the thing at your back is a man with a pistol and standing orders. And the man does not accept excuses. The timer, at least, reset. Here is the honest arithmetic. You are statistically less safe on the battlefield than you were on the factory floor. But both numbers were already bad enough that comparing them precisely feels beside the point. You were a resource before. You are a resource now, just closer to the enemy. But say the lottery misses you. Say the war never comes to your level, and you die old at your machine. You might think that means the Imperium finally left you alone. It didn't. Somewhere on Holy Terra, it still has a problem with the fact that you exist at all. Say the lottery missed you. Say no recruiter came to the factory floor. No war arrived to collect you in person. You are still here. You are still pulling the lever. And somewhere on Holy Terra, a building the size of a continent is filing paperwork about you. That building belongs to the Administratum. It is the largest bureaucratic organization in human history, which means something because human civilization has had 10,000 years to practice being enormous. Its clerks have never seen your world. They have never seen your floor, your machine, or your face. They know only your number. The number is long. You already knew you had a serial number. What you did not know is what long means in this context. A servitor, one of those mind-wiped clerks built from a human being and given a single task, takes a full day to read your number aloud at standard dictation speed. 1 full day. That is not your name. That is a single entry in a ledger that contains 1 trillion other entries, and the ledger is not the only ledger. Somewhere in that building, a clerk made a mistake. This is statistically certain. The Administratum's reach is absolute. Its accuracy is poor. A misplaced digit, a crossed line, a stamp on the wrong column, any of these can declare you legally dead while you are still standing at the lever. This has happened. This happens. Right now, on some floor of some hive on some world, a person is legally a corpse, and nobody nearby will tell them. The form to correct this exists. It requires a counter-signature from an official 3 levels above the clerk who made the error. That official died 200 years ago. There is a form to request a substitute appointment, but that form also requires the same dead signature. Here is what matters. The Imperium is not doing this to you on purpose. There is no malice here. No room where a minister decided your existence should be inconvenient. The system was simply built so large, so long ago, that the part responsible for noticing you has no mechanism for noticing you. It was not designed to hear appeals. It was designed to process volume. You are volume. The processing went slightly wrong, and the processing does not correct itself. The Administratum assigned you your work. It assigned your faith schedule, your ration tier, your draft eligibility number. In all of those assignments, it has never once confirmed you are a person. It confirmed your number exists. That is different. When the machinery stops seeing the number stops existing. You keep pulling the lever, but in the only record that counts, you are already gone. And when the record says you are gone, there is only one direction left: down. Below the floor you were born on, into the parts of the hive the Administratum stopped mapping long before anyone alive can remember. The hive goes down further than the maps admit. Below your level is the underhive. Below that is the sump. And below that is a dark the Imperium stopped counting sometime before anyone alive was born. Down there, gangs make the rules. Imperial law does not follow you into the deep, because Imperial law has done the math and decided it would rather not come down and die. So the gangs enforce their own order with pipe guns and old grudges, and if your debts get bad enough, this is where the enforcers send you and cut the rope. You will meet abhumans in the dark, ratlings, ogrins, baseline mutants who were born a little wrong through no fault of their own. The Imperium calls them soldiers when the guard is short on bodies, and heretic when the war is over. Same person, same face, different paperwork. But here's the part the sermons leave out. The most dangerous thing on your level is not the gangers. It is not the sump water. It is the kind stranger who showed up last season. He listened to you. That was the strange part. Nobody listens down here. He said the workers matter. He said a better day was coming. He said you were part of a family now. That stranger is a Genestealer Cult recruiter, and in many stories, this is exactly how it begins. Not with a monster, with a friend. The cult starts among the people the Imperium forgot, which is you, and it grows, slow, in the dark, across generations. Grandparents pass it to children who pass it to children. For a while, it even feels like hope. It feels like the first time anyone told you that your life had weight. Then the sky fills with something worse, a hive fleet, the thing the cult was always waiting for. And on cue, the family rises up, and everyone finally learns what they were really praying to. It was never interested in your freedom. It was only ever interested in delivering you. So sit with the cruel joke for a second. The informers, the commissars, the boot that has been on your neck since the day you were assigned a number. All that paranoia, all that surveillance, and it turns out the Imperium was right. There really is a thing in the basement. The watching was warranted. That is not comfort. That is the worst possible version of being right. The system that grinds you down does so partly because the alternative, sometimes in the dark, is worse. And still, all of it, the gangs and the cult and the swarm gathering underground, all of it is local. It is one hive, one world, one small horror in the corner of a galaxy that has much larger ways to end you. Because the deepest threat was never below your feet. Look up. Now imagine the thing the cult was waiting for actually arrives. It comes from above, and it does not knock. A hive fleet crosses the void. The Tyranids. Records name the great swarms Behemoth, Kraken, Leviathan, as if naming a storm makes it smaller. It is an appetite the size of a solar system. It does not want your world's factories or your world's faith. It wants the biomass. That includes you. Or it is orcs, who arrived for no grand reason at all. They heard a fight was happening nearby, and a fight nearby is the only invitation an orc has ever needed. Or the ground opens and Necrons climb out. Skeletal machines that were sleeping in tombs older than your entire species, older than the first human who ever looked up at a star. They do not negotiate. They were here first, and in their memory, this is still their soil. Or the worst threat is closer than the sky. Down on the transit level, a psyker said yes to the wrong voice. The warp cracks open. In the age of the Dark Imperium, these rifts are common, and chaos pours through them. The neighbor who said yes becomes the door. What steps out is not a soldier you can shoot. Each of these dwarfs you completely. You are one worker at one lever. These are the tides that erase the people who erase people like you. And here is the last rule of being a worker in the Imperium. If your planet cannot be saved, it can be spent. The Imperium has an order for this. Exterminatus. It is not a rumor and it is not a threat. It is a procedure, reserved for worlds judged unsalvageable. Rather than lose a planet to the enemy, the Imperium destroys the planet itself. Cyclonic torpedoes crack the crust. Virus bombs consume every living thing and then consume each other. When the fires go out, nothing is left to feed anyone. 40 billion people, filed under acceptable loss, signed off in a war so old that nobody at the command level remembers how it started, or whether the reason still applies, or whether there ever was a reason worth 40 billion. So understand what your life actually was in that final tally. The lever, the rations, the serial number, the 90 seconds, over and over, for as long as your hands worked. All of it reduces to a rounding error in someone else's tactical calculus. This is the lesson underneath everything. The Imperium does not defend a world because people live there. It defends a world because a world is a productive asset, and it destroys that same world for the exact same reason. Now suppose none of this reaches you. Suppose you survive every lottery, every tithe, every cult, every sky. Here is what waiting for you looks like when you finally get old. Say you beat all of it. No conscription, no cult, no exterminatus, no warp rift cracking open on the transit level, no hive fleet arriving overhead like a second sky. Just the machine and the lever and the 90-second timer for 40 years. 50, until your hands stop working. There is no pension in the Imperium of Man. There is an evaluation. A tech priest arrives. Red robes, cable arms, one green lens where an eye used to be. He does not ask your name. He does not know your name. He checks function. He checks output. He measures whether the biological component that remains has any viable purpose left in it. If it does, the mechanicus can preserve it. That is not a metaphor. The hand that pulled the lever for 50 years continues to pull the lever. The rest of you is servitor. The rest of you is absent, still on shift, just no longer home inside. That is the best outcome. That is the ceiling. That is what loyalty to the Imperium of Man looks like, if everything goes right. Now pull back. Pull back past the hive, past the manufactorum tier, past the hive-city and the world it consumed, past the system, past the segmentum. Pull back 10,000 years. Once, there was a single man who tried to build something better. He had a plan that encompassed the species. He had armies, space, and a design for human survival that had been in development longer than most civilizations have existed. He failed halfway through, not at the edges, at the center. Now he sits on a throne of gold on a world called Terra. The machinery keeping him in something adjacent to existence is older than the Imperium itself. Approximately 1,000 psychers are brought to him every day. Their lives end at that threshold. Their deaths power a beacon called the Astronomicon, a psychic lighthouse that lets ships navigate the warp without disappearing forever. He is the god emperor of mankind. He is the figure in every mural your foreman made you kneel toward. He is the reason you kept pulling the lever and not the other one. He cannot hear your prayer. He cannot save you. He is barely maintaining a threshold of existence that 1,000 deaths a day cannot fully sustain. Nobody is coming for the worker. Nobody was ever coming. This is what 10,000 years of holding action looks like from the bottom. You were born a factory worker in the 41st millennium. You stood at 2 identical levers. The timer reset every 90 seconds. You kept the machine running. You never found out what it was for. You were not the hero of this story. You were the reason the story is grim. The guardsman standing in the trench 1 floor above you has his own version. It runs shorter. It ends the same way. Pull the lever, not the other one. Do not ask what it is for.